I'm going to be setting up a command post in my house using a Raspberry Pi and really setting it up so that I can do a lot of cool things. So let's get into it. I actually have my GitHub here that I'm just starting actually. And so I'll have a few things here. Pi-hole, WireGuard for secure VPN access, monitoring a custom local dashboard. I'll actually be using Home Assist also to check the status of different things in our house and really just have a cool dashboard that shows us, everything that we need. So I'll be doing all this and I'm walking you guys through it. So if you guys want to follow along, you're more than welcome to. But the first thing I needed was a Raspberry Pi. I got my Raspberry Pi, got my power charger, and a 128 gigabyte little SD card, and I plugged that into my router right into the Ether net. No Wi-Fi, just straight into the router itself. And I am now in the SSH shell. So after I've installed Pi with the image, you can just Google image Pi or Raspberry Pi image. I think it's the OS Lite. I'm using the 64-bit. And I have a Raspberry Pi 4 and a 4 gigabytes of RAM. And so I will be using Docker and Docker Compose. And I'm a complete beginner, so if I can do this, then you can also. And so the first thing I did was plugged it in and then went into my shell terminal and SSH'd into my shell terminal. And as you can see, I have our shell here, and we're ready to start updating some of the information within our Pi, updating the dependencies and all of the different files that are needed. So let's get into that. First thing we're gonna do is sudo update and upgrade our Pi. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And as you can see, it's just updating all of our different files here. Obviously, I'm not a professional. I'm just Googling stuff as I go and learning as I go because I am getting into cybersecurity. And so, you got to learn and test and practice. And so here we are setting this up. So once this is done, we'll start installing some other things. If this is confusing at all, we do have a Discord that you definitely want to join. It is in the link in the description. So instead of setting up the static IP within a config file, I'm going to go ahead and just set it up through the router. And so all I'm doing is setting up my Pi, and I'm allocating the IP to be a static IP at 120. And so I went to my home network, went to IP allocations, and assigned that or allocated that IP. And so for you, you definitely want to figure out if that is something you want to do or if you want to do it in the config file. But once you have a static IP, we're moving on to the next step. All right, next we're going to get the good old Docker. So we're going to go ahead and download that. And once this is done, then we're going to be resetting our setup, and we're going to be restarting, setting up a group for the Docker, and then test our version. And then we're going to keep moving forward. So when this is done, I will walk you guys through the next step. And from here, all we're going to do is make sure that I am in the Docker group, and I just don't have to use sudo anymore. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna go ahead and exit, and then we're gonna go ahead and SSH back into our console, and boom. So we are good there. Now we're gonna set up some Docker stuff. All right, now we're gonna set up the Docker Compose. So once that's installed, then we're going to be actually setting up all of the services. So once this is done, I will walk you through those steps too. So all I'm doing here is setting up the Docker folder. So I created a folder. I didn't know what directory I was, so I screwed up a few times, but I went and actually went into the directory. So cd docker, now I'm in Docker, and we're going to be installing our YML file. So we're going to go ahead and drop this. We'll have to nano into our Docker because we'll be creating a file to pull from Docker to download all of the requirements. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and save this file in our directory so that we have it, and exit out. No, perfect. So now that we have that in there, so we have our Docker file, we're in our home directory or our main user directory, and then we have our Docker composed file. All right, so now we have it going. It is downloading all of the files, pulling them and extracting them, and we'll have both our Pi-hole and our Wireshark set up here in a moment, or WireGuard rather, and we'll be showing and assigning them to the ports, which we just did, and now they are live. So that Docker file, the YAML, is like a requirements file or a doc.txt, which is used in other applications. And essentially what it does is it tells the Docker everything that it needs to download and what services to, I guess, push forward and make live. And so that's what we just did. So now you can see that we created Pi-hole. It downloaded it all with the latest images, and then it downloaded and created a WireGuard. And so all of those are assigned to a specific IP, and we are able to view those now and set them up. All right, so we just typed in now Docker PS, and that brought up the latest container images and what they are providing. So we have our Pi-hole on the latest command is start sh, and then we have our WireGuard, and it's initialized. They were created a minute ago, the status, and what port. If you guys find this helpful at all, join our Discord because we have a lot more going on, and I can help you a lot more by being in our Discord. What port they're on. So I'm on port 88, and if we actually go to the Pi-hole, you'll see that we have a login credential, and you should have set up your password in your YAML file or a YAM file. And from there, once you log in, you'll have your back office. And so this is what we're looking at. Total inquiries 0, queries blocked, percentage blocked, domains on list. We have the query, the groups here. So default group, clientele list, domains, and lists here. This is just the block lists from that they have already. And so we need to set this up now so that we can actually use the Pi-hole. All right, so some of these, I'm not going to use the command terminal for the next part because it has some information that you should probably keep private, like a private key and a public key and all that fun stuff. So what you're going to do is you're going to, once your Pi-hole is set up, you're going to start WireGuard, which should be already up, but you're going to actually set up your config file. Once that config file is set up, you'll then add your, you'll scan the QR code. So you'll generate a QR code with this command, and then you can scan that with your phone. And if we pull up actually, phone, you can see I have WireGuard set up. So this is WireGuard, and you actually don't need to have it turned on while you're on your Wi-Fi. But yeah, so once you do that, then you can, I'm going to add this. If you want to access it remotely, you can do duck DNS. So you go to duckdns.com and you log in, and then you set your domain. I set it for my, once you have that set up, you'll be given a token that you'll use to edit the config file. You'll enter your token and then save that config file. Same thing with your phone. You'll change the endpoint of the file and change the endpoint to be the DNS that they give you. I can't show you those But ask questions down below if you are missing anything, and I can go into further detail. But that's all you have to do. And I'm able to now access all of my stuff remotely. You also will need to set up port forwarding, if I didn't say that already, in your good old router. So I wasn't able to access the internet. If I go to here, you can see that I did have to set up a port forwarding of this to access it. So you just go to NAT Gaming Wireless Guard. You add a custom service. I put this UDP 51820 for the port, and then saved it, and then assigned it to this device, which is my Raspberry Pi. And that is essentially how I set up my own network with tracking. Let's just pull it up actually. 168.1.120. And we have our Pi-hole, and we should probably test to see if this is actually blocking anything. And then we have access to log in and access this from my phone from anywhere using a VPN, which is through WireGuard. So with both of those things set up, we essentially are all good to go. And we will be adding more things here in the next couple days, couple weeks, of like a dashboard, a file server, and much more. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But now you have a, website or home network that blocks ads and allows you to access your home network from anywhere using a VPN. So far, that's what we've done, and more to come. Be on the lookout for more videos. Remember to like and subscribe. Join our Discord if you haven't, which is in the links in the description. I'll see you guys on the next one.